Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. We're taking a look here again at Bitcoin, kind of going for our weekend update, just kind of seeing what's up here. We're going to look at some larger time frames, and more importantly too, just where's the price actually going to go. We keep retesting this lower range here about 95.5, and it's not looking fantastic. We got some extra liquidation just below that, so my speculation is the price pulls back a little bit further and kind of just takes out that liquidation range, but we're going to double check a few things first, all right? So if you are new to the channel, welcome aboard. Hope you can learn something today. If you want to become a better trader, cryptocash.tech is a site, link down below. Also, future reference too, we have some nice results here for our Premium Plus group. As beta testing, of course, but for last week's worth of trading, we got some nice passive income options here for our Plus traders. So tune into that, of course, if you're part of our community. Check that out. I'll be sending out updates moving forward. It's only 1 week's worth of data, so it's not like the most amount of information, but it's a pretty good strategy so far, and I think it's working fairly well. So I'm confident it'll provide us with some nice passive income for our community. Either way, check that out. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If you do, don't hesitate to be a stranger. Don't be a stranger. Don't hesitate to reach out. That's what I meant. You should hesitate to be a stranger because I have an open door policy. You can reach out at any time. Just know I'll never direct message you first or try to solicit you. If you get a lot of DMs from people that act like they're me, it's not me, all right? I'll respond to you, don't get me wrong, but you have to initiate. I will not do that. Same thing goes with our admins too. So back end data here for Bitcoin. This is looking pretty dicey, folks. I don't like this at all. This is very, very scary. So personally, I think if the price were to come up any higher, I might be leaning more towards a short just based on how much liquidation is right there. Okay, so again, maybe a hedge versus our longs to take take a short with Bitcoin. There's a possibility that this may work out favorably. Again, when you see this much liquidation, it's kind of scary. It basically just means that everyone is buying this dip here with high to middle to mid leverage, and they're going to get destroyed very soon. So it may not happen right now, but it should happen soon. You can only retest this kind of lower range for so many times before it breaks. Anyways, we can look at the charts and obviously see if there's any type of shifts in momentum. I'm speculating there aren't, but for the most part, this is a very strong motivating factor for market makers. So if you see the price go up, I'd just be a little concerned with it because to me, it seems like a fake out if the price were to be increasing at all. Okay, so just my thoughts. And again, it's probably not even a fake out. They're probably just, the market makers are just kind of waiting for the price to get where they want to, and then they'll sell and probably dump at some point. It just kind of has those makings here. You see this happen a lot. Anyways, for the most part, everything else, like from a macro perspective, outside of, again, this 94 to 90, let's just say 96 to 94K range, minus that, there's not a ton of liquidation like immediately close by. Okay, so we'll figure out the rest of that later. Bigger picture here, though, we can see you don't want to fight against the shorts here. So taking a long right now makes no sense at all. From a delta perspective, basically telling us we have way too many longs that are have gotten destroyed here recently, and a lot of shorts in the market. So the simple way to understand it, sorry, I kind of worded that weird, is that there's way too many shorts in the market right now, and longs are having a difficult time trying to take longs into that. Again, this is a pretty significant sell wall, if you will, because there's too many shorts in the market. Keep in mind that stays overextended for too long, we have this large liquidation delta of 10 billion in shorts in another 2 or 3 days, and that continues to stay consistent. That's when you see a short squeeze occur. Right now, I think it's way too early to see that. We're going to need to see a very, very large amount of volume to be able to punch through all that resistance that we're seeing. Speaking of resistance, take a look here. Open interest pretty much reaffirms and reiterates that we're in pretty rough shape as far as resistances are concerned. In other words, we got a lot of longs at 96.2, that's the current price point, 97.2, and then 98 and 99K. So there's a lot of interest above us, basically implying that the price comes up, there's going to be some exit liquidity, and people are going to want to try to sell and get out of those positions. So it seems fairly likely that Bitcoin is going to continue lower if it goes much higher from here. If it continues to stay at this range, it's going to go down lower too, don't get me wrong, but the simple way to understand is we got a lot more resistance above us than below us. There's support at the 93.8, 94K range, but that's right there at this lower liquidation level, right? So, it makes sense that there's support right in this lower level, and that this level in between 94 to 96K will get hit soon. So again, just based on a back-end data, which I don't take trades solely on that one thing, if I were to, it's quite obvious that a short position seems a lot more viable than a long. Again, those are just some thoughts here from the back end looking, from the look on the back end bigger picture. So let's take a look at the bigger picture rather on the monthly, we can start with the monthly. Kind of go from there because it's gonna, the monthly is kind of an interesting scenario. Minus this fair value gap, there's really not a lot telling us that we're going to see a shift in momentum. In other words, we do have stochastic swinging down, and the last time stochastic swung down, by the way, the price action kind of just stayed in its descending broadening wedge. Okay, so that just implies that even though we are diverging from a stochastic standpoint, which can be a good indicator of momentum shifts, it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to go to the ground floor. Okay, it just implies that pullback would make sense, and we might see another, some more chopped salad, if you will, for the next 2 or 3 weeks, or possibly even, like we saw before, 6 or 7 months. Isn't that great? Isn't that an awesome thought? We're going to see the same crap for the next 6 to 12 months. Anyways, that's just strictly shooting from the hip there. I'm just throwing out some numbers, but based on recent data, that we could see something similar there. Okay. Now, when it comes to RSI, we're still over 70 in the RSI. That's generally construed as bullish. I'm not, fully bullish on Bitcoin as far as like just seeing us go to like 200,000-300,000, but I still think we're in pretty decent shape here in the overall sense. As long as we don't close below the 93 to 90K range, I think we're in pretty good shape. Again, it doesn't mean we're just going to run down if we do. It just implies we're losing some support. So if you see here, 2 months in a row, 93,600 is that lowest point in which we've closed for the month. So hypothetically, we want to close above 93.6 this month to have a good leg to stand on. When it comes to the weekly, obviously we're going to see more bullish scenarios here based on RSIs and SMAs. But generally speaking, we're still in a decent shape here, right? Even though RSI is tapering off and pulling back, money flow index is decreasing. These are all on the right side of the tracks. So we're still on the bullish side, if you will. So it's actually quite nice that we are seeing stochastic pulling back and the MACD diverge here, because that's truthfully allowing for us to see that natural capitulation, that natural pullback, which makes perfect sense. So I'm speculating we're still going to see some downside, but I don't think it's going to be monumental. While there is, again, that fair value gap here as low as 73,000, basically the previous high, we are probably not going to see that right away, if at all. That's just, again, speculation here. I think a worst case scenario is maybe somewhere in the $80,000 range. And as we get to the lower time frames, I can identify what I mean by that. But for right now, the weekly time frame does have some shifts in momentum occurring, kind of letting us know that, hey, we've been up in this range for too long. We haven't legged up yet. The likelihood of pulling back is greater the more time we spend in this range. Okay. Daily time frame. This is one of my favorites. Let's take a quick look here. This is, again, just going to consistently reiterate our bearish type of divergence here. We got the 50 and the 20-day SMA above us. They're hanging out at the 98 to 102K range. So just know we got a pretty solid resistance range between pretty much 99 to 102, but you could even say 98 if you include that SMA there. And then same thing here as well. We're under 50 in the RSI. Until we get above that, really no reason to take it long. Same thing here with stochastic. Trying to swing up, but having difficulty there. MACD is trying to converge. It is topping out, or bottoming out rather, but that doesn't really tell us too much. To me personally, when I look at the daily time frame, I want to make sure that we're still in good shape. If we do take a look here, there's been a lot of daily candlestick closures and candle wicks at this level here of approximately 92.5. So again, maintaining above 92.5 seems to make the most sense for being able to continue to hold this range. But I think there's a distinct probability we're going to see the 96 to 94K range hit fairly soon to sweep that lower level liquidation, and then possibly even further if we trend lower. But if I were to consider a short, I would make my short with take profit targets right here in this range of just say low 94K range. So that's 94 to 95K would be kind of that take profit range for me. Again, I like to play things a little tighter. I secure profits more often, more consistently in the market. And while we had to close a couple of longs here recently, we had like 5 or 6 pretty significant short trades from the beginning of the month. So it's like it all kind of averages out. And honestly, I'll be honest with you, lately this market has been pretty terrible. More specific at this exact moment, because we keep getting fake outs where the price action is almost ready to break bullish, and then of course it just rejects out very hard. And there's oftentimes not a lot of indications as to why that happens. Either way, let's go ahead and summarize here. Daily time frame is still mostly bearish. We don't really have anything here letting us know that we're going to see a shift in momentum. Again, you're pretty much reaching if you're saying that there's some kind of hidden bullish convergence or something along those lines. I don't think any kind of indicator should be hidden, first of all. I kind of got to hang up with that. But second of all, the truth is it's like we're just not in a position right now where this is viable to want to take a long, based on what we've seen here so far. Okay. Now, when it comes to this potential play out here, there is potential we might see a bounce here soon or the price continue to rally here because we're, in a sense, double bottoming, if you will. Again, this is a bullish type of structure based on a bearish pattern or bearish, sentiment, right? So again, do not attach yourself to a potential, just because we are seeing a flag pattern or a falling wedge pattern doesn't mean we're just going to break out instantly and it's going to turn around and never look back, right? Most everything is still bearish, so we got to kind of remember that. All that being said, though, we don't have any shifts in momentum yet. We're still under 50 in the RSI, stochastic swinging up, which is consolation nonetheless. But it kind of just speaks to this whole ripsaw that we're seeing, just constant up and down. So we're basically in a channel right now between 96,000 and roughly just say 99,000, and until we break that range, we really have no reason to consider doing much else besides range trading. All that said, though, MACD is trying to converge, but it's not a very strong convergence. So again, you're reaching if you're trying to convince yourself that that there's anything bullish here. Okay. Only thing potentially bullish is when we break this descending type of trend. If we're to bullishly backtest that trend, that would be helpful. So in other words, the price comes up like this, break through the 50, come back down, consolidate. That's when you consider a long position, because then the price is more likely to go higher because you're already establishing higher highs and higher lows. Between now and then, though, a long position with Bitcoin is pretty much foolhardy. It's not really appropriate. Again, those are just my thoughts. I could be way off. I've been off in the past. Trust me, I'm completely fallible. I'm not a perfect trader. But again, those who actually watch the entire video and kind of realize that, for the most part, there is something to my method, hats off to you and kudos to you. Those people that fast forward to the end or they make a comment based on the thumbnail or whatever, you're pretty much doing yourself a disservice, and you're like a goldfish. You have no attention span outside of 30 seconds, and that's why you're consistently failing. Again, I'm not trying to throw any discredit at you, just saying that in general, some folks have a tendency of being kind of ridiculous when it comes to trading. They're looking for shortcuts, and there's no such thing. You got to kind of put in the time, put in the effort, and you'll eventually get there. Anyways, from a daily time frame here, there's zero reasons, hourly time frame. There's zero reasons to take a long position. Everything looks pretty bearish. I think if we get lucky and we get closer to 97, 98K, I'm going to be looking towards considering a short position with this coin. Between now and then, it has every reason to continue lower and very few reasons to continue higher. And this being a weekend, generally best to avoid trading. But if you're going to lean towards anything, consideration of a short would make more sense, just in the overall sentiment. Okay, again. But I would much rather wait for the price to go up a little higher before I short. I don't like shorting into a support at the bottom, if you will. Okay, I want a little bit more, purpose or meat on the bone, so to speak. Cool. All right, that's all I got here, folks. Obviously, if you're not already familiar, I do post a playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. That is found here. You can find that available for you. And if you're ever watching the videos, by the way, the playout chart's already uploaded and ready to go. So it can kind of summarize my thoughts there and kind of help be a guide for you. But I'll post that here shortly. Hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.